when I was growing up, I had a friend, and his name, we'll change his name, was Bobby, okay? And Bobby was a compulsive liar, okay? And so what would happen is every time we would go somewhere, every time we would talk about doing something, every time he had a girlfriend, he was a compulsive liar. And for instance, one time he claimed that he had a girlfriend. And I said, awesome, I have a girlfriend, let's go on a double date. That's just a logical thing to do when you're friends, right? And he goes, yeah, it's gonna be awesome, let's do that. And then the day of our double date, he goes, hey man, we can't do it tonight. And I said, well, why? Well, because she doesn't live in Houston. I said, okay, that could be a small problem. I said, well, maybe next time we could plan better so that she can come. And he's like, yeah, that'll be great. And then a few weeks later, I said, hey, let's try this again. And he goes, well, actually, she doesn't live in Texas. And I said, okay, this could probably be a problem. Maybe we could work something out. And he's like, well, actually, we broke up. It didn't really work out. But that was our life. I mean, it was just one thing after another after another. He was a compulsive liar. Now, I'm going to give you a marriage tip. You're not married, most of you. Some of you are. I'm going to give you a marriage tip, something I learned the hard way. That's weird. What is that? I hear myself. All right, anyways, okay. Maybe it's just me. I apologize. So, marriage tip, though. Okay, here we go. Marriage tip. One night after Underground, it was a Thursday night, my wife and I, Sarah, had gone home, and a friend of hers, her best friend, came home with her. And in this setting, Sarah had bought a new dress that day and wore that new dress to Underground, okay? When we got home, I was on the couch, just kind of, relaxing from Underground. And Sarah and her best friend were in the kitchen, and they were talking. And then all of a sudden, I hear this voice, a voice that I wish I'd never heard, but it's her best friend. And she goes, hey, Chad, what do you think of Sarah's new dress? And I thought to myself, okay, there's two ways that this could go, right? There's two ways. See, one way would be to say, first of all, I was already in trouble because I didn't notice the dress in the first place, guys. Tip number one, okay? You've got to be observant. I'm bad at this, okay? So first I thought, well, I should probably just say yes because I'm already in trouble because I didn't notice the dress in the first time. But then on the other hand, the other thing I could do would be to honestly tell the truth. Because the reality is, though the dress wasn't bad, I didn't really like it. And so here I am faced with a dilemma. It was an easy fix. I'm a pastor. I'm held accountable by you guys, sort of. And I thought, well, I'm going to do the right thing. And so I told her the truth. With love, I presented it and said, I think the dress is really nice, but I don't particularly like it on you. Now, you can kind of see where this is going. Luckily, her best friend, and it was really funny. Can you imagine her best friend just like, why did I ask that question? Bad call, right? Now, why am I telling you that? We mended that bridge, and actually it came down to one point, ladies, and I'm going to ask you this, and you can just think about it. Don't say anything out loud because Sarah's here. But what was the right thing to do? Not morally. Forget the morality for just a second. Was it right to be honest? Some of you are saying no. Wouldn't you rather know the truth? I mean, in all honesty, wouldn't you rather know the truth? That if your boyfriend or just a good friend or a brother or a parent didn't like the dress on you, wouldn't you rather know the truth? Now, ladies, just raise your hand if you say, yes, I would rather know the truth. Okay, let's do the other way. How many would rather? I think I should have just said something else. Okay. All right. I thought I would prove a point by doing that, and I did. And so what I want to say tonight is we're going to finish up our series on the 10 Commandments. And tonight we're going to talk about lying, which is commandment number 9, and we're going to talk about coveting. Sorry. Brain farts. Yeah. We're going to talk about coveting. But the reality is this, okay? Well, let me read the verse to you first so you get this. Exodus 20, verse 16. I'm a little all over the place, but it's going to hone in here. Verse 16, it says, you must not testify falsely against your neighbor. Now, the reality is this is saying do not lie towards someone else. Do not lie about someone. And I'm going to elaborate just a little bit for the sake of our ministry, so I don't want you to think that I'm taking the verse and going a different way. But when it comes to lying, I think there's a lot of things that we need to look at and we need to deal with this group, particularly here tonight. And so what I want to say to you first is this. It's a phrase that I'm going to say a couple times, and I want you to just embed this in your heart. Lies turn into lifestyles. Lies turn into lifestyles. Lies turn into lifestyles. Okay? It's research. Cornell University did this study. They wanted to see how many times men and women lie per day. Men, we came to know, lie 6 times, on average, 6 times per day. Women, 66, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Women, 3 times a day. 3 times a day. Men, 6, women, 3. Here's what was funny, though. The most common phrase used was, I'm fine. Yeah. I'm fine. No, you're not. Yes, I am. You just lied twice, right? That was the most common one. The ones that followed, I just thought was interesting I'd share with you was nice to see you. Okay, so think about that. The next time someone says that to you, they could be lying. I'll call you back. Guys, guilty, I know. And the last one, it really caught me off guard. Of course, I love you. Seriously, that was it. Of course, I love you. That was one of the top 4 most used phrases that equate to lying, okay? Now, there's a little tidbit that I want you to know. Here we go. Why do we lie? 4 things I want to look at. Why do we lie? First, most of us lie to get something, or most lies come to get something, okay? For instance, how many of you in your lifetime, maybe you're doing it right now, filled out a college application? Some way, shape, or form, filled out a college application, okay? There's a tendency on that college application to beef it up a little bit, right? One way you can beef it up is community service. Community service is seen extremely high in the collegiate field, and so you could easily bump it up, right? How many of you have filled out a resume before? Okay, maybe just in school, just to practice, filled out a resume. It's also easy to beef up a resume. Why would we lie on our resume? Well, we want to get something. We want to get that acceptance letter to that school, or we want to get that job, right? Most of us, if we lie to get something. Some of you lie about your personality. Maybe a guy to a girl. You lie about something that you really are not, but you pretend you are. Like, for instance, my wife and I experienced this. I lied about liking sushi. When we first met, we went on a date to sushi, and she asked me, had I ever been? I said, absolutely. I love sushi. It's my favorite. And so we got to the restaurant, and I did the smooth move, and I said, hey, you pick whatever you want. It's your night, and you go, and I'm going to eat whatever. Because the reality is I'd never had it before. Okay, so why do we lie? We lie to get something. Okay, I wanted her to be happy on our first date, and I wanted to try sushi, but I was scared. So I let her go for it, but we lie to get something. Others of us, we lie to look better. Ever done that? We lie to look better. Ooh, think about that for a second. How many of you just think about this? Okay, I have a disclaimer here. But how many of you wear some kind of knockoff? That's really bad. I'm sorry. How many of you guys wear some kind of jewelry or clothing that's not of the original retailer? Let's put it that way. Just think about it. Don't raise your hand. Sorry. Left you for a pause there. Now, here's what I want to say about that, ladies, before you freak out. There's 2 things you got to look at here. If you're wearing that, jewelry or shirt or jeans or purse, to look like you have more money or could afford that, then you would be simply in the wrong. However, if you just like the way that purse looks, and the reality is you know that you can't afford it, nothing wrong with that. For instance, my shoes. Everyone check out my shoes. You like those? Yeah. How much do you think those cost? Who said that? $10. $10. Now, they could be a knockoff, and I just don't know whose they're knocking off, but they were $10. I like things that cost $10. That's a good thing for me, all right? And I'm married, and once you're married, this money changes, okay? So I like that. But the reality is, if we're doing something like that to make ourselves look better or to make ourselves look richer or to look like we have more of a status, then we're missing it. And ladies, just a side note here, because I know you really want to hear what I have to think. If you have a Coach purse, a Gucci purse, or a Prada purse, guys don't care. We have no we don't even know what the difference is. But half the guys were like, I thought that was a shoe. No, we have no idea. So let me just remove all fear for the ladies in the room, the few of you, of course, that don't worry about it. I mean, don't worry. You know what guys like? Guys like authentic. That's what guys like. Guys also like less bills when they get married. So keep that in mind. Number 3, the third thing we do, third reason why we lie, most common third reason we lie, is to make someone else look bad. Ever done this? Just think about it. To make someone else look bad. Scenario. Girls, I'm sorry, it's just coming so easy tonight. Three girls in this story. There's a girl, she walks into the room, you have 2 friends that are sitting here talking, they see the girl come in, oh my gosh, look at her sweater, it's so cute. I wonder where she got that at, right? Friendly comment, nothing wrong with that. The second girl goes, in her mind, okay, that's not cool. She didn't say anything about my sweater, and yeah, it's a cool sweater, but she wears it every day. You just squashed it. Completely lied, but you squashed it. Why? To make yourself look better. Now, guys do it too, I know, but I just want to give you guys some scenarios because a lot of times we hear this stuff and we think lies, yeah, well, that doesn't really affect me. Stealing, that doesn't really affect me. Adultery, definitely. But when we start to break it down, we realize, hey, this stuff is closer to home than we realize. The last one I want to look at, we lie to hide something. We lie to hide something. Lay the scenario out, let's see if it's you. You get pulled over. No, officer, it was not my silver Honda Accord with the tinted windows and the Christian fish on the back that ran that red light. It was another one. Ever tried that before? Or maybe worse. No, mom, I didn't do that. No, teacher, professor, I did not cheat on that paper. That was somebody else. Why do we lie? To hide something. What happens when we lie? Why is this dangerous? Because lies turn into lifestyles. One little lie builds and grows and turns into a lifestyle. Culture isn't helping. This isn't news to you. Just poker. What is poker? It's lying, right? I'm not bashing poker. You can deal with that on your own. But the reality is that game is based on lies. It's all over TV. Texas Hold'em, based right here in Texas. Again, it's your deal, but my point is, it's all about lies. Look at TV itself. TV shows, Pretty Little Liars. I don't know if y'all watch that. The Lying Game, Lie to Me. Culture just feeds us this stuff, right? Hey, this is normal. This is actually good. Lying's okay. It's kind of the in thing right now. Proverbs 19:5 says this: a false witness will not go unpunished, nor will a liar escape. Are there consequences for sin? Absolutely. Absolutely. We still suffer today for Adam and Eve back in the garden. Are there consequences for lying? Absolutely. And we hurt people. We hurt people when we do that. We begin a lifestyle of being someone that we're not. Know anybody like that? Maybe it's you. Spent so much time in your life trying to beef up yourself, trying to be somebody else, trying to act like this or act like that. And the reality is you are so far from who you are that you don't even know what to do with yourself. Why? Because lies become lifestyles. It's a web. Man, you say one lie, but then to keep that lie going, you got to say another lie. But then to keep those two up, you got to say another one. And then to cover all 3 of them, there's another one and it just grows. And what happens when one goes, the whole thing falls apart. I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to I'll say the guy's name just because the story is out and you could read this. But it's a guy by the name of Louis Giglio-Michi. He was a worship pastor. Not Louis Giglio, Louis Giglio-Michi. He was a worship pastor. And he got really sick. And he went to the doctor, had his family drop him off at the hospital. They went to the doctor. He got some tests on his own. And the test came back saying that he had cancer. And so he went back to his family, and he went back to his church, and he said, guys, terrible news, I have cancer. So they began to start a fund for him, and they began to just support him and to love on him. He went a couple years at this. Got so bad that he was wearing an oxygen tank while he would sing, and he would kind of move it around as he was singing, and wrote some powerful songs. And then a year or two passed, and we found out that he didn't have cancer, that he was addicted to pornography. And his addiction was so strong that it made it look and made him feel as if he had cancer, that he was sick. If you remember at the beginning of the story, the family dropped him off at the hospital, but they never went in. For years, he lied, and he lied, and he lied, and he lied, and finally, those lies caught up with him. Now, why would I tell you that? Because the reality is, you better understand that if it can happen to a guy that's a worship pastor, it can happen to a pastor, it can happen to a celebrity, and it can happen to every single one of us. Why? Because lies become lifestyles. I could list 1,000,000 up here that we encounter, but you know what they are. God says, do not lie. Why? Because it's deadly, and it hurts people, and it'll make you become something that you're not. And nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. How do we handle this? What do we do? That's two things. Man, if you catch yourself in a lie, hopefully tonight we leave here and we're not going to be perfect and you're not going to not lie. I wish that was the case. Maybe it will be. But you catch yourself in a lie and you say, hey, you know what? Hold on. God first, I'm sorry. I said that. That came out. I shouldn't have said that. But not only do we confess to God, we need to go confess to whoever it was we lied to. Just say, hey, you know what? I'm sorry, man. I'm really working on this. I'm trying to kind of snap out of this fib telling or however you want to describe it. So I apologize. What I said to you that wasn't right. Here's the truth. Man, no one's going to look at you weird for that. No one's going to make fun of you for that. They're going to appreciate that. They're going to appreciate your honesty. Willing to say, hey, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to be that. I want to be honest with you. I'm going to tell you the truth. So you confess to God, you confess to them, and then the last thing I'd say with this is just try to avoid those situations in general. Find where it is that you tend to say the most lies. Maybe it's a specific group of people. So for some reason, when I'm with that group of people, I just seem to slander people. We make up stories. We talk about people. We kind of dream up these crazy scenarios. I'm just going to dodge that scenario completely. Maybe it's to relationships. Maybe you've never told the truth to a girlfriend or a boyfriend or just a close friend. Either you need to go and fix that, or you need to just break away and so you can figure out what it is inside of you that's keeping you from being honest. And for most of us, it's probably just coming clean with God. It's easy to think that if we hold something inside, God will never really know. But the truth is, he already knows. You have nothing to hide. But man, we confess, we repent, and then all of a sudden there's freedom to go and to fix the areas that we've caused to be wrong or caused to be out of whack. Lies turn into lifestyles. Commandment 10, Exodus 20, verse 17. You must not covet your neighbor's house. You must not covet your neighbor's wife, male or female servant, ox or donkey, or anything else that belongs to your neighbor. The reality is we're all guilty of this. We're all guilty of this. Your marketing schemes, they all point you in the same direction. They all point you in the same direction. They want you to envy what's on the screen. Not necessarily the product. They want you to envy what's on the screen. Look at Bowflex. Any Bowflex fans in the house? Raise your hand, somebody, just to make me feel better. Okay. Man, when you see a Bowflex commercial, what do you see? You see a guy or a girl and he's ripping it. I mean, his arms are the size of your head. Everything is exploding. There's a nice oil film. I mean, everything is just right. And so you see that commercial and you go, man, if I get a Bowflex, I'm going to look like that. And they say some crazy, like 6 weeks, 6 days, 6 hours. And you're like, yes, I can do that. But what happens? If we're silly enough to buy a Bowflex, it sits in the corner of a room. Now, how did they get you, though? Did they get you by telling you, man, if you work hard and sweat and feel like you're about to die, then it's going to look good? Did they get you by that? No. They said, hey, look at this guy or look at this girl. Look at what they have, what they look like. You could look like that, too. Because we look at something we don't have and we say, I want that. Teeth whitening. Somebody was telling me about a poster the other day. He was sitting in the dentist chair looking at the poster, and he said the guy's teeth were white, but this was an older guy that was telling me this. He said, but what was funny is his teeth were white, but he had hair, and I didn't. And his hair was brown, and mine was gray, the one that I did have. But then he had these cute girls all around him. And so it made me think, if I get my teeth whitening, I'm going to get younger. I'm going to get brown hair. I'm going to have hair. And there's going to be ladies surrounding me. It's going to be awesome. Do you ever see a picture of just the teeth that are white? No. There's always something with it. This is what marketing does, and this is what gets us. Because we become a culture that looks at something we don't have and say, I want that. I need that. If I get that, everything will be good. Good luck. How do we covet? I just want to look at 3 areas. First, it's our relationships. Man, some of us in here, I'm not going to make you raise your hand. I just want you you're single. You're single upon single, meaning you don't have anybody, not even in the near future, not even in the 10 years to come. You are just flat out single. And you look around and you see people walking and they're holding hands, and it's like every animal's walking together. The doves are flying, and everywhere you look, it's just happy love land. And you're the only goofball walking down the street alone. Ever felt that way before? Don't raise your hand, just think about it. Man, it's so easy though to start looking and going, man, if I just had a girlfriend, I think everything would be okay. If I just had a boyfriend. My dad left when I was young, and I just never really had a male figure in my life. If I just had a boyfriend, I think it would be okay. Let me just share something with you tonight. If you're single, there's a reason. There's a reason. Most likely, it's you. It's not that you're not worthy or not cute. I'm sorry. I really didn't mean. Okay, just pretend. Can we just pretend that didn't happen? Gosh. Most likely though. Get it out. Come on, get it out. It's me too. All right. Somehow I got married. I don't know. The reality is though, God is trying to work in your life. He sees things that need to be fixed. Some of us say, I'm ready for marriage. No, you can't even keep up with the few dollars that I've given you. God's speaking. How are you going to manage money for your whole family if you can't keep up with the little bit I've given you? Others of you are like, yeah, I can't wait to get married. I'm going to go to church. Maybe this is your first time to church tonight. We're going to go to church, but we'll wait till we get married because that's the family thing to do. And it never happens. Hardly ever. Maybe you say, I want to be the leader of my family. Guys, I want to be the spiritual leader. I want to be the male leader. I want them to look to me and be proud of their dad and proud of their husband. And you go, hey, God's been trying to get across to you that you've got a lot of things to work on, but we get so caught up in looking at what we don't have that we forget that God may be trying to do something right here. So if you're single tonight, which is all of you, let me just tell you, be encouraged. Be encouraged that he's not letting the wrong one or even the right one come at the wrong time. He's making you wait so that you can be ready. Don't look around, look here. Say, what do I need to do? What do I need to get ready so that I can find the one? The other is money. I don't know, a lot of it, you're like, we don't even have $2 to our name, and I get that. But it's easy to look around at everything around you, and some of the kids that maybe grew up with their parents, they really took care of them, and it's easy to look around and go, man, I wish I had that. I got to work to go to school. Even with financial aid, I'm still working, and I'm barely making it. Remember this. God has given you what you have or don't have for a reason. You either have money because you can handle it, or you don't have it because you can't. The reality is, if I was a millionaire right now, can I just be honest with you? If I was a millionaire right now, I'd probably be broke within a month without my wife, because I do not do well with money. I see things and I just have to have them, and it's something I've really had to work on. There's a reason you don't have what you don't have. God knows that. Now, granted, some people do. They'll make a lot of money and they don't know how to handle it, and that's a different story. But for us, be encouraged to say, hey, this is the time when I get to learn how to work with the bare minimum. And God's going to reward me for that. But you ask yourself this question when it comes to money. Whether it's $1 or $100 or $500, are you faithful with that? Are you faithful with it? Do you do with it what you should? Or do you waste it away? Do you give the part back to God that was already his in the first place? Or do you say, I'm going to wait till later to do that part? Be faithful with what he gives you, and he'll give you much more. Not a lot of money, but he'll give you what you need. You need to know that tonight. Last thing is our family. I know a lot of us, I'm one of them, grew up in a divorced home, and it is easy to look to the left and to the right and say, man, I just wish that I had a dad that was there. I just wish. I learned how to shave, me personally, on my own. It's a lot of scrapes, a lot of cuts. Many of you have been there. I just wish, man, if I just had a dad, even for a year, man, everything would be different. You know what? God knows what he's doing. I don't, and I'm not going to pretend to tell you that I do. But God knows what he's doing. And I can tell you this from my life now at 26, being the oldest in the family, have my dad gone for a few years in my life, it made me who I am today. And I don't doubt that for a second. And I know every story, man, some of you guys, it's tough and we can't even begin to understand. But trust that God's using this to mold you into the men and the women that he's called you to be. Not to use it as an excuse to run off, to be careless with your bodies, or to be careless with your lifestyle. It's not what he's called us to do. Don't get caught up looking around, looking at what other people have that you don't. He knows exactly what you need. It's funny, all of these commandments from 5 through 9, the first 4, if you remember, they're vertical. They're all about our relationship with Christ. But from 5 on, they're horizontal. They're all about us. They're all about our interaction with people. But it's funny, we get to commandment 10, and it seems to be the beginning process for 5 through 9 if we're not careful. Think about it. If I envy something that I don't have, it may cause me to steal something that I don't have. If I envy another woman or another man while I'm married, it may cause me to pursue another man or another woman while I'm married to somebody else. If I look at my friends after I found out that I've gotten pregnant, and I look at them as I'm getting ready to go to college, as we heard in our story a few weeks ago, and I say, if I have this baby, I won't be able to do the things that they're going to get to do. Looking at what they have and we may not, it may lead us to make a decision that would lead us to murder and abortion. It's crazy. And as I was reading this, I really did ask myself the question, God, why put that at the end? I know you know everything, but maybe you could have put that at 5 and let that pave the way. And the more I studied, the more I looked at it, I thought, you know what? It's kind of cool because it's really just that last reminder. Stop looking at what you don't have. Stop looking around. He says, just trust me. Trust my timing. Trust my planning in your life. And you'll be all right. You'll be all right. Yeah, it'd be cool to have a nice car. It'd be cool to have a girlfriend or to be married. But the reality is, I got your best interests at heart. It's the perfect summary of all that we've been studying. And actually caught me, and it turned out to be really a beautiful thing. So what do all these have to do? We've been through 10 commandments. And you may think as you sit there, is this even relevant? I mean, seriously, Chad, some of these, okay, I could see, is this even relevant? Let me ask you this. Take them away. Take them away. Just in this room for one night, take away the commandments. What would it be like? No punishment for stealing? Lie whenever you want, no one's going to know. You could take other people's wives or girlfriends and boyfriends. No rules, right? I could kill you right now. It's cool. Who's going to do anything? Imagine if we took these away. The world becomes a scary place, doesn't it? So don't get caught up. So we'd studied these thinking, yeah, well, these don't really apply to me. They do. They really do. God knows what he's doing. He put these things down for a reason. The 10 commandments, they do not get you to God. They don't. Following them don't get you a relationship with him. Following them doesn't get you in heaven. God says, you build that relationship with me first. You come to me. You choose my son as your Savior. And then I lay these out in front of you. not as punishment, not to restrain you, but to protect you. He says, I value your health, and so I want you to rest one day a week. I value my other people, so I don't want you to murder. I don't want you to lie. I don't want you to cheat. I value your marriage. I don't want you to commit adultery. See this? They don't get us to God. They're put in front of us as protection. The reality is, these make us more aware than ever that we cannot be perfect. We cannot be perfect. So what do? It's not a hopeless scenario. God sent Christ. He said these commandments, they're going to diagnose you. They're going to make you look around and realize that you are sinful, every one of us, myself included. But he says, but I've got hope, and I'm sending it. And it comes in the form of a man. It comes in the form of my son, Jesus Christ. If you accept him, we'll remove and forget every transgression you've ever had. And we'll start clean. You won't be perfect, but you follow these commandments, and it'll get you where you're going. Not where you want to go, but where I've got in store for you. And what I have for you is 10 times better than you could ever dream. Don't get caught up looking around at what you don't have, because the reality is you may start chasing something that you're not supposed to have and miss the greatest thing that you could have had, but you missed it because you chased something that wasn't yours. God's plan for every one of us is better. Don't leave this place hopeless. I just want to read this verse and then we're done. Romans 8:38. And I am convinced that nothing can ever separate us from God's love. Neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor demons, neither our fears for today, nor our worries about tomorrow, not even the powers of hell can separate us from God's love. No power in the sky above or in the earth below. Indeed, nothing in all creation will ever be able to separate us from the love of God that is revealed in Christ Jesus our Lord. These laws protect us. They protect us. They don't get us to him. But because we love him and because we have a relationship with him, we confirm that by following the laws he's put in front of us, trusting him like a father to protect us as we go.